Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Kingsman 2K, right back at you with a new video. I wanted to start off this video talking about DirectX 12, and I got more videos to come, but I want to start off with this one because this seemed to be a hot topic lately, and I was trying to see if I can bring a little bit of levity, a little bit of truth to the matter, and kind of give you the truth from the horse's mouth, so to speak. This footage I found on YouTube is from Microsoft Build Conference that was earlier this year, around April the 2nd through the 4th. And the Build Conference is basically Windows developer conference. All the developers that develop apps and programs for Windows, they meet once a year. I think besides GDC, but I think GDC is a different company. But anyway, they gather them all together, tell them what's going on in the future of Microsoft and all that good stuff. And one of the things that they're focusing on at Windows is this one Windows focus or initiative, where basically they are making Windows one size fit all in a sense, where they are making the Windows kernel operating system work across desktop to Xbox to Windows Phone to tablet. And they are putting it all together so they can make it easier for their developers to develop apps, develop programs, develop games across the board, and also emphasize their cloud movement, where basically they're moving more to the cloud, to a services company where they can basically provide services for their clients and their developers and the enterprise. Because, contrary to popular belief, operating systems are becoming more and more obsolete in a sense. You know what I'm saying? Not in a traditional sense, not in the practical sense, but in the traditional sense. You're always going to need something to operate your hardware. But with the way technology is, the traditional sense of having to buy $200-300 software operating systems for your rig is becoming less and less popular, with Apple becoming more and more cheap as far as their software is concerned, and just the push of the cloud and the capabilities of the cloud. So I just wanted to basically bring this info to the table so you guys can look at it and really understand what's really going on, and just think about this while he's talking. He's telling you as much as he can tell you, because a lot of DirectX 12 is integrated within Windows 9, or aka Threshold, which is the code word. And a lot of those little tidbits and stuff that we really want to know won't be released until then, until like 2015, next year spring. I think that's when Windows 9 is supposed to come out. So so he's telling you as much as he can without violating some NDA or something like that. So just keep that in mind. But he's giving a lot of good nuggets, information. If you're really interested, it's going to be a lot of technical talk. If you're not really into that, then I'm sorry, but I will break it down as much as I can to give you a better understanding of what he's saying. But it's not as bad as you think. So right here, the guy's going to ask him about DirectX 12. This guy on your left hand side, he developed. He was over the team that developed DirectX 12, and he's very knowledgeable about it. I think he's since moved up in the company with all the changes. So here we go.
And so we wanted to talk a little bit about DirectX for people out there who are programming DirectX with DirectX 12.
Yes.
You've introduced some pretty impressive new capabilities and features. Can we talk about that for a little while?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like, we obviously believe that DirectX is and Direct3D is a one of the most advanced and most awesome graphics APIs. And I want to kind of maybe start a little bit with a piece of history because I think that it's super interesting, right? So roughly around when we hit Windows 7, we kind of started to realize that those were the days when we pretty much DirectX and D3D were kind of synonymous, although we had things like direct sound and direct inputs and things like that. But they were DirectX was mostly synonymous with D3D, and so one of the things which we started to realize is that we need to move the whole rendering stack for the operating system, the rendering and composition stack for the operating system. We need to move it to a hardware acceleration, and so. We did a lot of work across the graphics team and composition team and window management team to achieve that goal. So we effectively have a completely hardware accelerated, and we keep talking about it, completely hardware accelerated graphics stack, composition stack, the whole user interface of phone and Xbox and PC and tablets, all of that set on this common base. And
right there, he's talking about the One Windows initiative, where he's saying that basically with DirectX 12, with the help of DirectX 12, it's going to help Windows be that platform where it stretches across all these platforms. So it can, so all the developer have to do is develop on Windows and through the power of the cloud, with some tweaking on the cloud and cater it to each whatever device you're trying to get to, whereas Windows Phone app or Xbox One app or regular Windows desktop app. So that's what he was talking about, is that.
Obviously, we took a little bit of a detour. If you are a game developer, we took a little bit of a detour because we spent a lot of time building things like Direct2D, which is a rich set of APIs for rendering 2D stuff. And the reason we needed that was because we wanted to build a user interfaces in it, and so. Like D2D was super important for us, and then we needed direct image for manipulating raster objects and whatnot, and direct compute got booted, and direct write, which is for text layout and rasterization, and so like we started to kind of lay down the foundation for completely fully hardware accelerated composite operating system, and we kind of already at the beginning of Windows 7 we started the departure away from GDI software-based rendering. And we kind of got into a meaningful place where we, and obviously somewhere at the beginning of this was the new driver model, which we introduced in Vista. If you look at all the way back to Vista, like we introduced WDDM, and that was kind of the basis of this whole journey, right?
What he's talking about right there is basically they're just laying the groundwork and the foundation for DirectX 12. Started back at Vista, based on what he's saying. With WDDM, which is Windows Display Driver Manager. And with that, it kind of changed the driver aspect as opposed to GDI, which GDI was more or less what they used back in 98 and XP, because it was an intermediary between applications and device drivers. So it was kind of two-dimensional. It was real bare bones, and basically they wanted to kind of improve on the architecture and make it to where they give developers and programmers and all these people more control over the hardware that they were programming on. So this is what he's talking about.
And so that was pretty exciting and pretty cool. And so now we finally arrived to the place where we kind of feel that the base and the foundation is pretty solid, and we have everything which we need. And now we are kind of starting the next iteration. And so one of the things which we have done, and I think that people saw it in the keynote around Xbox One, we really are trying to push what we can get out of the hardware. Like we get constant feedback, particularly from the game developer community, but not just from the game developer community. There's CAD apps, there's visualization apps. A whole bunch of people pretty much are coming back and say, let us get closer to the hardware. Like we really want to get down to the atom. And so we started to analyze sort of the overhead where we see opportunities around improvements in the performance, and that comes with a set of trade-offs which are very, very interesting. We give you a lot of control, but we also give you a lot more responsibility to make sure that the app is running great and not crashing and that type of stuff. And so At GDC, we introduced something which we call DirectX 12, which is kind of the next generation of DX, and the key focus there is on performance, CPU, reducing CPU utilization, improving parallelization, things like that.
Excellent.
Now, check what he said last. Decreasing CPU utilization, increasing the parallelization as far as performance, and making things, basically makes things better. So what he's saying is it's going to improve the performance of the CPU, and it's going to take it from where right now it's just using one core, spread it out, parallelization, to where it's, you use this across the CPU, and basically make more use of the hardware instead of the certain software components getting in the way, creating the overhead, which is basically kind of like bottlenecking, but it's kind of like it just gets in the way. Especially if you're a developer that wants to get have more control over what goes to to the buffer and all that good stuff. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pause right here. Be ready for part 2 of this video. It's coming right up. Stay tuned. Be good. Peace.
Yeah. Yeah, they like, go along with it, though they getting long-winded. Plastic surgery, the truth's getting augmented. And if they got some proof like a coupe, yeah, it's all tinted. New dude on the stoop, he rules, yeah, we all written. He gon' keep the ones that he choose till we all finish. The Prince of Pieces, everything that Prince Charles isn't, even just the